It has been 4 weeks since I started working on my own indie game full-time. And one of the things I have been struggling with since starting on it is that I feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm not being productive enough, not getting enough done in the hours that I have. And most of that feeling comes from me having worked on this project as a side project before, while I was working for another game studio as a day job about 8 hours a day. I would get home from working on that other game, and then I would spend an hour or two working on my current project. And I would get a lot done, and I would feel super proud of how much I would be able to get done in such a little time. Now I have a lot more time, and I kind of hoped that I would be as productive working a full work day on this project as I was working in those little side project hours. And for the first 3 weeks of working on this full time, that hadn't really been happening, and that was starting to sting. But then this week started, and I don't know why people hate on Mondays, because last Monday was my most productive day yet. At least on this project in these 4 weeks, I got a lot of work done in the engine. I worked on a number of different systems, and I just made a lot of progress. And that was all before dinner. I felt very similar to how I did in those side project hours. Got a lot of done in fairly little amount of time. I'd only worked about 4 hours at that point. Then after dinner, I was still feeling inspired, so I continued working for a couple more hours, and it was just a very productive day. I felt very good about it. Tuesday went very well, Wednesday went very well, and Thursday went reasonably well as well. So it was just a really, really nice week. It felt very productive. It felt like I got stuff done. And that was a very good motivation boost. As I mentioned 2 weeks ago, I want to ask myself 4 questions every time I do one of these videos. The first one of which is, how am I feeling about the project? Luckily, still feeling pretty good about the project. I added something, so there's a possibility that characters you've recruited become friends, and then they actually do a little bit better when they stand next to each other in battle. They actually get a little bonus, which I think is very cute. And it also actually adds a little bit of flavor to the battles. It gives you a little bit more reason to move characters about as well, which I think is definitely a really good thing. There's still a lot to test, but I'm feeling really positive about, the state of the project. Second question is, how do I feel about the processes? And as I said, I've had quite some improvements in that for at least my own processes the last week. And I think that's mostly because I had a very clear plan for every day that I wrote out and thought about the day before, so that when the day actually started, I could just jump into it. I could immediately do what I wanted to do, what I wanted to get done, and I didn't have to first sit down, think about what I was going to do that day, because I had already figured it out and I could just jump into it straight ahead. So we also looked a bit at the workflow for character art for this game. And the idea right now is that I'm going to make the designs for all of the different characters. I'm going to draw them out, and then I'm going to hand them over to the artist, who's going to color them, add some nice lines with some different textures and everything, and she's going to render them out so that they all look like a nice consistent set of characters, and they're all in the same style, which I think is really nice that we've set up these basic steps of when stuff gets handed over. We're still working on what the final look exactly is going to be, but we're pretty close, so that's really nice. Third question, what did we actually get done these last 2 weeks? So I got quite a lot of design and technical work done. That was pretty good. I think I've met all of my goals. There's some more work to do, of course, especially when it comes to world building, things like that. Gonna need to be working on that for probably the rest of development, just to keep things updated whenever needed. But yeah, that's been pretty good. For art, we have not been able to progress as fast, just not had enough time to really spend on it. So we have done some character art, but we would have preferred to also have done a bit more of the background and everything as well. But speaking of the character art, I can actually show you a little bit of some of the different iterations that some of the characters have gone through. And it's not final yet, but just to want to give you a bit of a glimpse. So here you can see some of the different characters. Very first extremely sketchy iteration here on the left. I tried out some color and everything in the middle, as you can see. And then on the right, this is the latest version of the line art with just a very quick color representing the kind of class that they're in. And the idea is that the artist will, after this, figure it out in terms of style, really make them all look nicely consistent and color them up, everything like that. These ones I did the last 2 weeks, and I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. Fourth and final question, what is up next? I have 2 goals for the next 2 weeks. The one is to add in some background art so that I can have a nice and presentable looking game that I can hopefully start sharing with some people. And then secondly, I really want to work on some business stuff. I say I really want to work. I'd rather keep working in the engine. That just always feels so much more productive. I feel like I'm getting stuff done, but I really need to get some business things in order. I need to work and flesh out my game pitch. I need to work on some business plan and marketing plan, anything like that, just to make sure that I can start talking to publishers and really get a feel just for what they think about the projects that I'm making, because that would hopefully give me a good idea of where it stands, whether there's some possibility of working together with a publisher, whether I should do things myself, anything like that. Would be very good to know, so I really gotta work on that now. With all of that said, thanks so much for checking in, coming to watch how it's been going. I hope to be a little bit more active on the Discord and have something actually playable soon, so definitely join the Discord if you can. Like, subscribe, all of that business, and I hope to see you again in 2 weeks. Take care. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Are you telling everybody to like and subscribe? Or are you just trying to sneak up on me? You know I can see you behind your till.